The year is 2014, and the Cars diecast line isn't all too different from what we saw the year before. So far in this series, we've talked about how the Cars diecast line has evolved and changed very much year after year, but now we're at a point where the toy line has sort of reached a stable point where it knows what it's doing and is going to keep doing it for the next several years. In 2013, the series system was introduced, splitting the diecast mainline up into 12 different series based on Cars and Cars 2, featuring new releases and re-releases from both films, with these series being based on different scenes like the Cars 2 Wheelwell Motel scene, or different concepts like the Piston Cup. And 2014 simply continues that concept. It even uses an almost identical card back style to 2013, the only exception being that the Cars logo has been changed for one that says World of Cars. There's really not all that much to say about the 2014 Cars diecast line. It's simply more of what we saw in 2013, continuing the series concept with brand new series from both Cars films. I do think 2014 is a step up from 2013, and I really do like a lot of the releases that we got this year. I think it also does a really good job at balancing both Cars and Cars 2. While most new releases are still from Cars 2 as it was the newer film at the time, we got quite a few new items from the first Cars movie. This year had quite a few interesting series. In total, the series we got were Piston Cup, RSN, Race Fans, which focused on Cars 2 race fans, Radiator Springs, 95 Pit Crew, or Team 95 Pit Crew, World Grand Prix, The Meldorado Show, Tuners, Paris Tour, Lemons, All in All Blowout, and, of course, the Super Chase line. So as you can see, a lot of them are returning series from 2013. Others are very similar in concept, such as the Meldorado Show being basically a new version of the Wheelwell Motel line, while others are brand new, and others still sort of cement the series system as being sort of more catch-all. You know, last year we had a Retro Radiator Springs. Well, this year introduces the Radiator Springs series, which is just a general Radiator Springs series, a series that would continue every single year that used the series system. We would see a Radiator Springs series every year until the end of 2020 when they stopped doing series. So you can see that the series system has sort of evolved, continued with new series and returning series, but also sort of stabilized by replacing Retro Radiator Springs with the generic Radiator Springs series, and this year also removed the character-specific series. If you remember, 2013 had a Lightning McQueen series and a Mater series. Well, this year dropped those and kept it to different themes and scenes instead of specific characters. So while the 2014 main line wasn't all too different from the 2013 line, just sort of taking that concept and continuing it, this year we did see something that was very new and interesting, with the introduction of the Neon Racers, a brand new toy line designed specifically for the Cars diecast line. It was a brand new story within the Cars universe about a new race that the World Grand Prix racers were going on. Several items were released for this series, all exclusively at Target. They all had brand new special neon designs. We've got a few here. Let's see. There's Nigel. And there's Max and Raul. So these cool special neon paint jobs. It was a brand new story complete with a tie-in book. And this was our first ever expanded universe toy line that created a brand new story. This is something that we are super used to in the Cars diecast line today. Every year we get typically at least one expanded universe line telling sort of a new story in the Cars universe with these toys that are sort of canon to the Cars universe. But this was the first time it was ever done. Of course, we'd gotten expanded universe Cars before with the Storytellers line back in 2009 and 2010, but this time around, they created a brand new concept, this brand new racing adventure that the characters went on, and we'll see that concept flourish in future years and eventually expand to the point where expanded universe lines are an incredibly significant part of the Cars diecast line. It'll be interesting to follow that. Since nowadays it's something we're so used to, it's interesting to see it was fully introduced in 2014. To introduce this brand new concept, a special Comic-Con promotion was done for Cars. Starting in around, I think it was 2008 or so, we would occasionally get different Cars Comic-Con exclusives, providing special metallic or bigger characters that we wouldn't typically get. We also started to get D23 exclusives around this time, giving us massive characters like, say, the Convoy Brothers. While 2014's convention exclusive was designed to advertise the Neon Racers, creating this insanely cool and absolutely beautiful light-up Neon Racers box set, complete with a light-up Lightning McQueen and Shu Todoroki. And this is easily my favorite item in my collection from 2014. Hello everybody, and welcome back to 20 Years of Favorites, the series where I take a look at my favorite Cars diecast item in my collection from each year to celebrate 20 years of the toy line and 20 years of Cars in general. Today, to celebrate 2014, we're taking a look at the Neon Racers Special Edition box set. This is an insanely cool item and one of the most unique pieces in my entire Cars collection. I don't have many rare convention exclusive type things. This is actually really my only one. You might be wondering how I got it. I found it for an insanely good deal. Fully new, back in 2018 on eBay. I picked this up for less than $30. To this day, it is one of my crowning achievements as a collector and one of my favorite items that I've ever gotten. Currently, it sits in my closet alongside some other special edition items. It actually used to be right near my bed, if you remember some of my early videos where I showed it. This is an incredibly cool set. I really, really love 2014. I said this in last week's episode, but the 2013 to early 2017 series era is my favorite part of the entire Cars diecast line. It's my favorite era in the history of the toy line, especially 2015 and 2016. And 2014 has so many incredible new items. Emmanuel here is a personal favorite of mine, but I knew I had to cover this item. An item this special, I couldn't pass it up. You know, I keep talking about the history of the toy line each year, and before filming this, I said, Ty, you have to remember to talk about planes in 2014, because you forgot to talk about it in 2013. And I'm just realizing I forgot to talk about planes. Planes was a Cars spinoff. It got merchandise starting in 2013, and then got more in 2014. You know what? Maybe we'll do a special 20 Years of Favorites for planes or something. I feel like planes should probably be acknowledged. Maybe we'll talk about it in more detail for the 2015 episode, since there's not much history to say. Anyway, getting into this item, it was of course sold in limited quantities in Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con in 2014. And the box came wrapped in this insanely cool Japanese gift wrap cloth. For those of you who don't know, within the Cars universe, because again, this story is canon to Cars, it was a toy line with a story to go alongside it. There was a whole book and everything, some tie-in comics, other stuff like that. Again, something that we'll see very, very common for these expanding universe toy lines as time goes on. The story says that this was a race that took place in Tokyo after the events of Cars 2. The World Grand Prix racers got back together and they held this special race in the neon streets of Tokyo. So they wanted this special Japanese cloth. As you can see on the tag, which I've kept intact through all these years, in Japan, the presentation of a gift is as important as the gift itself. Furoshiki, I'm sorry if I absolutely butchered that pronunciation, is a Japanese wrapping cloth that can be used for gift wrapping. The 2014 Neon Racers Special Edition celebrates this Japanese tradition with a specially designed reusable wrap that illustrates the Neon Racer story. I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but it says, please enjoy. Very, very cool, and it shows you how to unwrap it. So yeah, this is a very special gift wrap, which I've always made sure to keep in good condition. And if you unfurl it, you will see, I'm sorry, I should have brought out my tripod for this. Check this out, look at this. It actually has a comic printed on it that shows you the story of the Neon Racers toy line. How cool is that? So as you can see, this gift wrap cloth is absolutely huge. It is really a pretty big enough to cover the entire box for the set and then some. And it just sort of retells the Neon Racer story that was also featured in the book, but with completely original, beautiful artwork done as sort of this white neon style line work. I love all of the detail that they were able to pack into this. It says, "Welcome to Japan, let's race." We have this very stylized look at, I believe that's supposed to be Mount Fuji, right? We've got McQueen and Francesco racing. We've got Shu. Is Shu waving the flag? I know Shu hosted the race. Did he not? compete in it? Did he waved the flag and raced? I don't know. Sayonara, Francesco. You've got McQueen racing and jumping through the audience. We've got some of the other racers in the back. Francesco looking terrified. Looks like maybe Lewis and a Rip, and I don't know who you are. Maybe Max Schnell. Another Formula One style car there. Just a sort of generic background World Grand Prix racers they'll draw sometime. But we see that Carla actually takes the lead and wins. Then we have a Neon Racers logo there, and a pretty disgruntled Francesco, and a McQueen that's like, yeah, she did it. Look at that. The Neon Racers trophy has the Cars logo on it, which is pretty interesting. On the other side, we have this very nice blue, but as you can see, this is just an absolutely beautiful piece. Something that really makes us feel like a high-quality special edition item. The set itself includes special light-up versions of McQueen and Shu Todoroki, only sold here, and they are pretty nice items. Of course, McQueen included because he's McQueen, and Shu was included because the race is hosted by Shu in Japan. Really nice to see the story there on the cloth, especially if you didn't, have the book and you went to Comic-Con and you picked up this item. Cool to see. Right? Cool to see Carlo in there. Although, unfortunately, the Neon Racers line didn't include all of the World Grand Prix racers. Despite the story prominently featuring Francesco and the fact that Carlo wins, both of them were not included. The line only covered a little more than half of the World Grand Prix racers, plus Frosty. Luckily, this is something that would be remedied with pretty much all of the later lines, all the other World Grand Prix lines, which we'll get to in future episodes. But yeah, really a shame they didn't complete this line. Anyway, the box has your sort of typical Cars styling. We've seen boxes that look like this a lot, but yeah, it's sort of textured, as you can see. Completely the same on all sides. We got some of your legal information. It says adult collector, which is pretty funny. And on the side, we have a button, which of course triggers the light display, which we saw earlier on in the video. And I'll show it again in a little bit. We have a little tab saying lift and the Cars logo. And on the inside, we have the top, which unfolds, and a little Neon Racers story description here. Neon Racers, welcome to Japan. Shu Todoroki is hosting an endurance night race from Mount Fuji to Tokyo's colorful Ginza district. Lady McQueen and his international racing pals are all outfitted with customized lighting and special neon deco for the illuminating event. Get ready for extreme racing and never-before-seen neon speed. Good luck, everyone. Again, I'm not going to try to read in Japanese. I'm very sorry. But if we pull McQueen and Shu out, they're actually both connected by cables, which I'll get to in just a minute. You can see this very, very nice Cars Tokyo background. As you can see, there we go. Basically just pulled from sort of generic stock art for Cars 2. But I love how you have this winding road in the background. It actually says World Grand Prix, which isn't accurate. But again, it is just sort of taken from Cars 2. I love how you have this winding road which comes up and becomes the little base for the cars. You also have these little clear plastic pieces with your arrows, which are actually fully detailed with all of these pieces cut out, as you can see. Very, very well done. Incredibly well detailed. You have the lights here, your two black lights on either side. And you also have little places to put the cars as well as the cords. So the way the set works is when you light this up, of course, you have this. There you go. You have this very unique black light display, and the cars are plugged in to these cords via these little parts on their bottoms, which allows them to be synced up with the light system like you saw earlier. And I'll do that again in a little bit. But the cords are able to be pulled out quite a bit so that you could fit the cars in. The cars can also be detached. And a very nice feature is that their lights actually do work separately. So you could sync up. Oh, it's falling down on me. It's coming down on me. Okay. Please don't. There we go. Okay. You could actually activate their lights separately, which is really nice. So you could plug them into the box and have the light system on the box, turn the lights on, or you could press the back windows and it activates lights on the front and also on the bottom, which is insanely cool. We'll start by taking a look at McQueen here. And yeah, this is a Very, very nice looking item. Both McQueen and Shu are a little chunkier than their usual designs because, of course, they had to pack a battery into these guys. A few years later, we saw the Precision Series light-up cars, I think, do this a little better. They weren't as chunky. We're getting some new light-up cars for the 20th anniversary this year, which also don't seem too chunky. And we got light-up cars back in 2011, Lights and Sounds cars for Cars 2. They weren't as chunky, but yeah, McQueen, you could tell, is a little bit bulkier than your typical Cars 2 mold McQueen. If we could grab one of my Cars 2 McQueens, you can see he is a little bit bigger, little chunkier to sort of fit the whole lighting apparatus in there. I really like his expression. I believe this is a unique facial expression. He has this very cool dark metallic red Hudson Hornet piston cup logo there on the hood. I really like how his iconic stickers have been redone in neon. And yeah, I actually don't have the regular Neon Racers McQueen or Shu. But it is very cool to see this design. I love how everything on McQueen has been outlined in this unique neon look. This McQueen uses the Team Radiator Springs Lightning McQueen design, which was being used in some shorts from around this time, where McQueen no longer has all-in-all logos because, well, we all know what happened in Cars 2, of course, and he instead has sponsors for the Radiator Springs buildings, including the Cozy Cone Motel, Flo's V8 Cafe, Mater's, we've got Fillmore's down there at the bottom, Lizzie's, I think that's Luigi's, and we also have Rusty's, and we also have Dynaco. I really like that attention to detail to have Dynaco be one of the contingency sponsors on McQueen. Of course, he's always had a good relationship with them. We have some bright neon wheels, very, very unique flame design trailing off of the lightning bolt. Everything has that sort of neon outline. Of course, we have the back window, which acts as the button, giving McQueen these bright headlights. And actually, the light from the headlight shines through on the bottom as well. But on the sides, we have these unique red lights instead, which is very, very cool. We have the Radiator Springs, a Radiator Cap Mountain logo there, and this other logo on the back, as well as a Lightning McQueen signature. Super, super underrated McQueen design, Team Radiator Springs McQueen. It's very cool to see how it translates in this neon style. Unfortunately, we never got a regular diecast of TMRS McQueen. We did get a metallic one, which is a Target exclusive in 2014, but yeah, not a regular single. As you can see, we have the batteries down here. It takes two of those little button batteries, which are super annoying to deal with. But yeah, it is something you could replace, which of course is very, very good, just in case you have an issue or the batteries go bad over time. Always make sure to check your batteries in toys that you display, of course. So yeah, you could also see how the lights come through here. We have some translucent parts, so when you press the button, there you go. Very, very cool. And again, that is the little plug to plug them in. Shu, I think, definitely looks a little awkward. He's definitely very bulky and awkward. If we pull a regular Shu, you could see just how much larger he is. They really had to do some alterations to his body to make him work here. He just kind of dwarfs the other Shu, which, yeah, again, little awkward, but hey, it's perfectly fine. This is also an item that you're probably going to keep in the box on its own away from your other Shus. And regardless, I think it does look pretty good. Shu was given a very unique dark silver design for the Neon Racers line. An interesting choice, completely altering his color from white to dark silver just to make it work better with the neon. We have the Japanese characters here on the hood as well as the number 7. Since Shu doesn't have a back window, his light is placed up here. And he, I believe, actually has the same colored light. Yeah, so the color of his headlights is the same color as the bottom lights, as you can see there. Very, very cool. On the side, unfortunately, despite McQueen's design being updated to no longer represent all-in-all, Shu does have World Grand Prix and all-in-all logos and World Grand Prix logo there on the spoiler and all of that, which really is a shame. This is something that all of the Neon Racers had, which really did not make sense. Luckily, starting with the Ice Racers in 2015, they came up with more lore for these races and made sure everybody stopped having the all-in-all logos. Definitely very good attention to detail. Just a shame it started in the second line like this and not the first one. Like McQueen, all of his details are outlined in this sort of bright neon color. Of course, we have the dragon that's a bit different on either side of Shu. Very cool. There is a look at his base once again. Very, very sleek and pretty empty except for the battery compartment. So, yeah, these two are very nice items. On their own, they're genuinely very nice looking light up cars, but throw them in the box and they become something truly special. So what you're going to do, you're going to plug the cars in here. Can I do this one-handed? Strong, maybe. I really should have brought my tripod today. Hold on. Trust me, I'm great at handling these limited edition items. So as you can see here, you just have to feed the cord back into the base, and that slips in just fine. And then your McQueen is going to rest very nicely on those plastic pieces. And of course, we're going to do the exact same thing for Shu here. Just plug him in like so. And again, just sort of feed this back through the base, through the body, and Shu, come on, man. There you go. Sometimes it can be a little difficult to just feed all the cord back in. Camera cuts can be your friend, Ty. Remember that. There we go. And now, of course, when we press the button, they're nice and plugged in. So the lights turn on, and then Shu, and then McQueen. And I love how they flicker on at first. It's just so cool. And we can close the box, and we have a truly special Cars Diecast line item. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching this episode of 20 Years of Favorites. This is easily one of my favorite pieces in my collection, so I'm super happy to be taking a look at it again. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week for 2015, one of my favorite years in the history of the Cars Diecast line. Bye now.